Right now, we are living through a historic wave of official UFO disclosure, with governments releasing formally top-secret files, military flight logs, and unedited UAP footage at an unprecedented pace. The world is finally waking up to the truth. There is not only one type of non-human intelligence, but many, many more, and the greys are just the tip of the iceberg. So today we are exploring every type of alien ever described. Among all reported alien species, the greys are the most recognizable and widely discussed. For decades, they have appeared in books, films, documentaries, and thousands of alleged encounter reports from around the world. The greys are usually described as small humanoid beings standing between 3 and 4 feet tall. Witnesses often describe them with smooth grey skin, thin bodies, and unusually large heads that appear oversized compared to the rest of their frame. Their most famous feature is their eyes. Reports consistently describe large, black, almond-shaped eyes that cover a significant portion of the face. The rest of their appearance is simple and minimal. They are commonly described with almost no visible nose, very small mouths, and no hair. Their arms are long and thin, usually ending in 3 or 4 fingers. Many abductees also claim that the greys communicate directly through the mind instead of spoken language, sending thoughts and images without moving their mouths. The greys became especially famous after the 1961 Barney and Betty Hill abduction case in New Hampshire. The couple claimed they were taken aboard a craft and examined by beings matching this exact description. Over time, similar stories began appearing across many different countries, including Brazil, Japan, Australia, and parts of Europe. Researchers noticed that many witnesses who had never met each other described nearly identical beings. In UFO lore, the greys are usually connected to medical examinations, genetic research, and telepathic communication. Some theories associate them with the Zeta Reticuli star system, after Betty Hill described a star map during hypnosis. Some researchers believe the greys are involved in long-term genetic experiments connected to humanity itself. According to these theories, they study human emotions, biology, and reproduction in an attempt to strengthen or preserve their own species. Reptilians are one of the oldest and most controversial alien species in UFO lore. Stories about reptile-like beings appear in ancient mythology long before modern conspiracy theories and science fiction. In many cultures, serpent figures were connected to wisdom, power, or hidden knowledge. Ancient civilizations in India described the Naga as powerful half-serpent beings, while Chinese traditions spoke about dragon kings connected to rivers, storms, and heavenly authority. Modern descriptions of reptilians began spreading widely during the late 20th century. Witnesses and conspiracy researchers described them as tall humanoid beings standing between 6 and 8 feet tall with muscular bodies and scaled skin in shades of green, brown, or dark gold. Reports often mention slit-shaped eyes similar to reptiles, sharp facial features, and strong physical strength. One of the most influential figures connected to the reptilian theory was British writer David Icke. In the 1990s, he claimed that shape-shifting reptilian beings had secretly entered positions of political and financial power around the world. According to these theories, the reptilians influence governments, corporations, and major institutions while remaining hidden behind human appearances. Icke even suggested that certain royal families and world leaders were connected to these beings through ancient bloodlines linked to the Alpha Draconis star system. Reptilians also appear in several alien encounter stories. In 1967, police officer Herbert Schirmer claimed he encountered humanoid beings with reptilian features during an alleged UFO experience in Nebraska. Since then, Similar reports have continued appearing in UFO literature and documentaries. Unlike the Greys and reptilians, the Anunnaki are more connected to the ancient world itself than to modern UFO encounters. Their story begins thousands of years ago in Mesopotamia, where some of the earliest civilizations on Earth recorded myths about powerful beings connected to the heavens. In ancient Sumerian texts, the Anunnaki were described as divine figures associated with the sky god Anu and the creation of human civilization. Their name is often translated as those of royal blood, or those who came from heaven to earth. The Anunnaki appear in some of the oldest written stories ever discovered, including the Atrahasis and the Enuma Elish. These clay tablets describe powerful beings who shaped human fate, ruled over parts of the world, and passed knowledge to early civilizations. In traditional Mesopotamian religion, they were understood as gods connected to creation, kingship, and the underworld. During the 1970s, writer Zecharia Sitchin introduced a very different interpretation of these ancient texts. He claimed the Anunnaki were actually extraterrestrial visitors from a distant planet called Nibiru. According to his theory, these beings arrived on Earth around 450,000 years ago, searching for gold, which they allegedly needed to repair the atmosphere of their own planet. Sitchin believed the Anunnaki used advanced genetic engineering to combine their DNA with early human ancestors, creating modern humans as a workforce for mining operations. According to these theories, important figures from Sumerian mythology, such as Enki, Enlil, and Inanna, were real Anunnaki leaders who later became remembered as gods. Some researchers also connect the Anunnaki to stories about great floods, lost civilizations, and the sudden rise of advanced knowledge in the ancient world. Nordics are commonly described as standing between 6 and 7 feet tall, with athletic bodies, pale skin, and long blonde or white hair. Witnesses often mention bright blue eyes and extremely symmetrical facial features that seem almost unnatural in their perfection. Both male and female Nordics are usually described as graceful in movement and dressed in simple uniforms, colored white, silver, or light blue. One of the most famous Nordic encounter stories came from George Adamski in 1952. Adamski claimed he met a humanoid being named Orthon in the California desert. According to his account, the visitor warned humanity about the dangers of nuclear weapons and encouraged people to avoid future wars. Similar reports later appeared across Europe and North America, where contactees described Nordics sharing messages about peace, environmental balance, and the importance of spiritual growth. Researchers also noticed that Nordic encounters felt very different from many other alien reports. Witnesses often described feelings of calmness, trust, and emotional comfort during these experiences. Many accounts claim the Nordics also communicate through telepathy and possess advanced psychic abilities connected to healing, intuition, and human consciousness. Their appearance has created many theories about their true identity. Some researchers believe Nordics may be connected to an ancient human civilization that achieved advanced technology long ago. Others suggest they intentionally resemble humans in order to make communication easier and reduce fear during encounters. In UFO lore, Nordics are also frequently described as ideological rivals to hostile species such as the reptilians, with many contact stories portraying them as beings concerned with protecting humanity from manipulation, conflict, and social division. Pleiadians became one of the most discussed alien groups during the rise of spiritual UFO movements in the 1970s and 1980s. According to contact stories, they originate from planets connected to the Pleiades star cluster, especially the Taygeta system. Many believers describe them as highly advanced beings focused on helping humanity develop spiritually and emotionally. Witnesses usually describe Pleiadians as tall humanoid figures with attractive features, bright eyes, and calm expressions. Their appearance is often compared to Nordic aliens because both groups are described as human-like and physically symmetrical. However, UFO researchers often describe Pleiadians as warmer and more emotionally expressive during encounters. Reports frequently mention gentle behavior, strong empathy, and conversations focused on healing, meditation, and personal growth rather than warnings about conflict or global politics. The modern Pleiadian movement became especially popular through the claims of Swiss contactee Billy Meyer, who said he communicated with beings named Semjase and Ptah for many years. According to Meyer, the Pleiadians shared philosophical teachings about human consciousness, environmental responsibility, and the future of civilization. Later authors and channelers, including Barbara Marciniak, claimed to receive telepathic messages from Pleiadian collectives that described humanity as part of a much larger spiritual system in the universe. One important idea connected to the Pleiadians is the concept of star seeds. Some people believe certain human souls originally came from the Pleiades and reincarnated on Earth to help humanity heal and spiritually awaken during periods of global change. Because of this belief, Pleiadians became strongly connected to New Age spirituality and modern meditation movements. The Sirius star system has fascinated ancient civilizations for thousands of years, and in UFO lore, it is believed to be the home of one of the oldest and most influential alien races connected to humanity. Sirius was especially important in ancient Egypt, where its appearance in the night sky marked the flooding of the Nile and the beginning of a new calendar cycle. Because of this connection, many researchers and spiritual movements later began associating the Sirians with ancient knowledge, astronomy, and the development of early civilizations. Descriptions of Sirians vary depending on the source. Some witnesses describe them as tall, blue-skinned humanoids with large, almond-shaped eyes and calm facial expressions. Other accounts connect them to aquatic or amphibious forms inspired by the ancient Nomo legends of the Dogon tribe in Mali. According to these traditions, amphibious beings from Sirius visited Earth long ago and shared advanced astronomical knowledge with humanity, including information about Sirius B, a companion star invisible to the naked eye. Sirians are often described as ancient teachers who guided early humans in subjects such as mathematics, agriculture, sacred geometry, and spiritual practice. Some theories even connect them to the construction of monuments such as the Great Pyramid and other ancient sacred sites aligned with the stars. Researchers also describe Sirians as highly intuitive beings connected to water, healing, and energetic balance. Many contact stories claim they communicate telepathically and use sound frequencies, symbols, and geometric patterns as part of their technology and spiritual teachings. People who identify as Sirian starseeds often describe themselves as deeply connected to nature, oceans, dolphins, and ancient history. The Alpha Draconians are described as one of the oldest and most powerful reptilian civilizations in the galaxy. Their name comes from the Alpha Draconis star system, and many alien researchers describe them as rulers of a vast empire built through conquest, hierarchy, and control over weaker species. Alpha Draconians are usually described as massive reptilian humanoids, standing anywhere from 7 to 18 feet tall, depending on rank and caste. Reports often describe thick-scaled skin in dark green, red, brown, or white shades, along with horned heads, large claws, powerful tails, and glowing reptilian eyes. Some accounts also mention wings or armored bodies that resemble ancient dragon imagery found in myths across many cultures. Researchers within UFO communities often separate alpha draconians from ordinary reptilians because of their role and status. Reptilians are usually described as infiltrators who secretly blend into human society, while alpha draconians are portrayed as military rulers and imperial leaders who command entire systems and species beneath them. Many stories describe a strict hierarchy inside their civilization, where lower castes serve as soldiers and workers, while higher castes operate as commanders, priests, and political leaders. Several contact accounts claim the Draconians possess advanced psychic abilities connected to fear and emotional control. Some theories suggest they influence conflict and division because negative emotions are believed to strengthen their power. During the 1990s, contactee Alex Collier helped popularize stories describing long-running conflicts between the Draconians and more spiritually focused alien civilizations. The image of dragon-like beings connected to chaos and domination also appears throughout ancient mythology, from Europe and Asia to the Americas. Because of this, some researchers believe the Alpha Draconians represent a modern continuation of ancient serpent legends that have existed in human culture for thousands of years. The Tall Whites became widely known through the testimony of Charles Hall, a former United States Air Force weather observer who claimed he encountered these beings while stationed near Nellis Air Force Base in Nevada during the 1960s. Hall later described his experiences in a series of books called Millennial Hospitality, where he explained that the Tall Whites allegedly lived in remote underground facilities near military testing areas in the desert. Tall Whites are usually described as slender humanoid beings standing between 6 and 9 feet tall with pale white skin, thin bodies, and large blue eyes. Witnesses also describe light-colored hair that appears almost translucent under bright light. One unusual detail in Hall's story involved their aging process. He claimed young Tall Whites often appeared physically older, while the oldest members of the species developed smoother skin and a brighter appearance over time. Their society is often described as highly organized and structured around rank, intelligence, and family groups. Hall claimed the Tall Whites traveled with spouses and children and behaved in ways that sometimes felt surprisingly human. He described them as curious about human behavior, daily routines, and emotions, while also maintaining a strong sense of distance from human society. Several stories connected to the Tall Whites also involve secret cooperation with parts of the United States military. Hall claimed the beings exchanged limited technological knowledge for permission to use isolated desert regions and restricted airspace. He also described advanced scoutcraft and technology connected to gravity and light-based energy systems. One of the most unusual details in these accounts involves their physical fragility. Hall claimed their bones were extremely delicate, requiring protective suits during close interaction with humans. Despite this weakness, witnesses often describe the Tall Whites as disciplined, intelligent, and capable of defending themselves with advanced weapons if threatened. The Arcturus star system is connected to one of the most spiritually advanced alien civilizations ever described. Arcturians are believed to come from Arcturus, one of the brightest stars visible from Earth, located in the constellation Bertus. Stories about these beings became especially popular in spiritual and New Age communities during the late 20th century, where they were described as ancient guides focused on healing, consciousness, and the evolution of intelligent life. Unlike many alien species connected to physical spacecraft and military encounters, Arcturians are often described as beings who interact through energy, meditation, and higher states of awareness. Witnesses commonly describe them as tall, slender humanoids with blue or green skin, large almond-shaped eyes, and calm facial expressions. Other accounts describe them as luminous beings made partly of light or geometric energy patterns that shift shape during contact experiences. Many contactees believe the Arcturians developed advanced spiritual knowledge millions of years ago and eventually learned to combine science, healing, and consciousness into a single form of technology. Stories about them often include energy healing, telepathic communication, frequency-based technology, and multidimensional travel. Some researchers even describe Arcturian ships as enormous healing centers where souls recover between lifetimes. Arcturians are also associated with sacred geometry and energetic symbols, sometimes called Arcturian codes. According to spiritual communities, these patterns are used to activate consciousness, restore emotional balance, and help people connect with higher dimensions during meditation practices. Many people who identify as Arcturian starseeds describe themselves as emotionally sensitive, deeply intuitive, and strongly connected to healing or spiritual guidance. Contact stories often portray Arcturians as calm observers who encourage humanity to develop greater awareness, cooperation, and balance. Reports about mantid aliens became more common during the late 20th century, especially in abduction accounts where witnesses described tall, insect-like figures silently observing medical procedures and interactions with humans. Many contactees believed the mantids operated in positions of authority, often appearing alongside smaller greys who seemed to follow their instructions. Mantids are usually described as standing between 6 and 8 feet tall, with thin, elongated bodies and long, jointed limbs resembling a praying mantis. Witnesses often describe triangular heads, dark wraparound eyes, and movements that appear slow, precise, and highly controlled. Some reports also mention dark green or brown exoskeleton-like skin with a glossy surface that reflects light. During encounters, they are frequently described wearing long robes that suggest status or rank within their society. Communication with mantids is almost always described as telepathic. Witnesses claim the beings transmit thoughts, emotions, and detailed mental images directly into the mind, rather than speaking aloud. Some accounts also mention clicking sounds or high-frequency tones exchanged between mantids during interactions. Contactees often describe an overwhelming sense of intelligence and emotional intensity while in their presence, along with temporary paralysis or altered perception of time. Some researchers believe mantids come from distant star systems connected to Orion or Draco, while others suggest they may represent an ancient intelligent species connected to Earth itself. Ancient mythology also contains insect-like spiritual figures, including African and Native American traditions, that viewed the praying mantis as a sacred being connected to creation and transformation. Mantids are often associated with genetic experiments, hybridization programs, and spiritual teachings about humanity's future. Blue avians are described as highly advanced extraterrestrials connected to higher dimensions of consciousness rather than ordinary physical civilization. Many researchers and contactees associate them with teachings about spiritual growth, emotional balance, and the connection between all living beings. Blue avians are usually described as tall, bird-like humanoids standing between 6 and 8 feet in height. Witnesses often describe bright blue or indigo feathers covering their bodies, along with large, dark eyes, small beaks, and folded wings positioned behind their backs. Their appearance is often compared to ancient depictions of bird-headed beings found in Egyptian and other ancient cultures connected to wisdom and divine knowledge. Stories about blue avians became especially popular through the testimony of Corey Goode, who claimed he interacted with a group called the Sphere Being Alliance. According to these accounts, the blue avians exist partially outside normal space and time and communicate entirely through telepathy. Witnesses described their communication as emotional and symbolic, transmitting thoughts, images, and feelings all at once instead of through spoken language. The central philosophy connected to the blue avians is known as the Law of One, a spiritual idea teaching that all consciousness in the universe is connected. Because of this belief, blue avians are often described as guides who encourage forgiveness, compassion, meditation, and spiritual awakening, rather than technological dependence or conflict. It is believed the blue avians are genuine higher dimensional beings attempting to help humanity during a period of global transformation. Small greys are often described as a separate subgroup within the larger grey alien phenomenon and are commonly connected to the Zeta Reticuli star system. They are between 3 and 4 feet tall, with extremely thin bodies, oversized heads, and large black eyes that appear even larger in proportion to their small frame. Their skin is described as pale grey and smooth, while their movements are often compared to machines because of their precise and emotionless behavior. Unlike the taller greys that are sometimes described as communicating telepathically with humans, small greys are usually portrayed as silent workers carrying out specific tasks. In many abduction accounts, they are the beings performing medical examinations, collecting biological samples, and operating strange instruments inside spacecraft. Witnesses frequently describe them moving together with unusual coordination, almost as if they are connected through a shared mind or controlled by a higher intelligence. One of the most discussed ideas surrounding small greys is the belief that they may not be fully biological beings. They are often described as artificial life forms or cloned entities created for labor and scientific work. Their behavior appears highly programmed, with very little sign of individuality, emotion, or independent thought. Some accounts even describe groups of small greys stored inside containers or chambers aboard alien craft, reinforcing theories that they are manufactured rather than naturally born. Their connection to Zeta Reticuli became popular after Betty Hill described a star map during hypnosis, following her famous 1961 encounter. The system later became associated with grey alien origin theories, and eventually with the small greys specifically. Insectoids are tall beings standing between 5 and 7 feet high, with hard exoskeletons that resemble the shell of an insect. Their bodies are often dark brown, black, or deep green, and their heads are elongated with large compound eyes that curve around the sides of the face. Many witnesses also describe sharp mandibles and additional smaller limbs near the upper body. Their movements are one of their most recognizable traits. They move in sudden, precise motions that resemble the behavior of insects rather than mammals. Their presence feels highly organized, almost like every individual belongs to a larger collective intelligence. Communication is usually experienced as a powerful mental signal shared by the entire group at once, rather than a personal telepathic conversation. The modern insectoid phenomenon became more widely discussed after reports such as the 1973 Pascagoula encounter in Mississippi, where witnesses described strange beings with robotic and insect-like movements. Over time, more encounter stories began appearing in the United States and Canada, involving tall insectoid figures inside crafts, near roads, and even inside bedrooms during nighttime experiences. Unlike mantids, which are usually portrayed as calm overseers directing alien operations, insectoids are described more broadly as a collective species with hive-like behavior and extremely structured thinking. Mantids often appear wearing robes or acting as leaders during encounters, while insectoids are usually presented as worker-like beings connected through a shared consciousness. Many encounters also describe insectoids working alongside greys during examinations and abductions. Witnesses frequently remember intense feelings of paralysis, silence, and overwhelming mental pressure during contact. The Ebens are connected to the Zeta Reticuli star system and became famous through the mysterious Project Serpo story, which describes one of the most detailed alien exchange theories ever shared publicly. In these accounts, the Ebens established direct diplomatic contact with the United States shortly after the Roswell incident in 1947. Years later, a secret mission allegedly sent 12 American military personnel to the Eben home planet, Serpo, where they lived for more than a decade before returning to Earth. The Ebens are humanoid beings standing around 5 feet tall, with beige or light tan skin and large oval-shaped eyes. Their heads are slightly larger than human proportions, though more balanced than the appearance of the Greys. Their fingers are long and thin, and their bodies are described as physically fragile but highly adapted to the harsh brightness of their world. Serpo is said to orbit a binary star system with almost constant daylight, which forced the human visitors to live inside specially darkened shelters during their mission. Their civilization operates through collective organization rather than competition. Every Eben reportedly grows up with a clearly defined role inside society, creating a world with almost no crime, poverty, or political conflict. Technology on Serpo is deeply connected to consciousness and energy, and the Ebens are believed to understand physics, communication, and space travel at a level far beyond modern humanity. One of the most interesting parts of the Serpo story involves the cultural misunderstandings between humans and Ebens during the exchange mission. The Ebens reportedly struggled to understand human emotions, individuality, and personal ambition, while the astronauts had difficulty adapting to a society built entirely around cooperation and routine. The Orange Aliens are one of the rarest and least understood extraterrestrial groups. They began appearing more frequently during the 1980s and 1990s, usually inside reports involving larger alien hierarchies and strange activity aboard crafts. Unlike the calm precision connected to the Greys, the orange beings carry an atmosphere of instability and exhaustion that immediately stands out during encounters. They are usually described as short humanoids, standing around 4 feet tall with thin bodies, oversized heads, and large dark eyes. Their skin carries a deep orange or reddish-brown tone that often appears rough, unhealthy, or aged. Many accounts describe them moving unevenly, with slower and less controlled motions than other alien species. Their behavior feels nervous and uncertain, creating the impression that they operate under pressure or fear. Several stories place the orange beings alongside Greys or reptilians inside spacecraft, where they appear to perform simple tasks or maintenance work rather than leadership roles. During these encounters, they often avoid direct eye contact with humans and seem highly aware of the authority of the species around them. This created theories that the orange aliens exist within a strict hierarchy where they function as lower-ranking workers or assistants. Another unusual idea connected to the orange species is that they may represent a damaged or declining civilization. Their physical appearance, emotional behavior, and apparent weakness led to stories that they were suffering from genetic deterioration or biological instability. Some theories even suggest they could be failed hybrid creations produced during early alien genetic experiments involving human DNA. Now comes the real question. If even one of these alien races exists, which one do you think is most likely to be real? Let us know in the comments below and tell us why. We read every theory. And if you enjoyed this deep dive, give this video a like and subscribe to the channel for more. Keep your minds open, and until we meet again,